I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Think back through your trading history. Sift through the noise, the losses, the frustrations. Find the memory of your best trade ever. The one that went exactly where you thought it would go. The one that paid out big. The one that made you feel like a master of the universe. Got it? Now, answer this question. How did it feel? Was it stressful? Were you sweating? Were you screaming at the screen, begging the candles to move? Were you confused? No. I am willing to bet everything I have that it felt easy, felt obvious, felt quiet, felt like you stepped into a river and simply let the current carry you downstream. There was no struggle. There was no fight. There was just you, the chart, and the profit. This is the great paradox of trading. We spend 90% of our time struggling. We grind. We study. We stress. We fight the market tooth and nail. And yet, our best results, our biggest wins, come from moments of total ease. Why is that? Why do we associate hard work with success, when actual trading success feels like no work? Because we have misunderstood the nature of the game. We think a successful trade is a technical victory. We think it happened because we drew the right Fibonacci level or used the right indicator. But that is only half the story. The truth is, a successful trade is a psychological victory. It is a moment of perfect alignment between your internal state and the external reality. When you are fighting the market, you are out of alignment. You are trying to force your will upon a chaotic system. That is why it feels hard. When you are winning effortlessly, you are aligned. You have surrendered your ego and accepted the flow. That is why it feels easy. In this video, we are going to reverse engineer that feeling. We are going to dissect the anatomy of a win. We are going to look at the undeniable psychological traits that are present in every single successful trade and absent in every single failure. We aren't just going to talk about buying low and selling high. We are going to talk about how to manufacture that state of easy flow on demand. Because if you can't replicate the mindset, you can't replicate the profit. Before we dive in, I want to test this theory with you right now. Think about that best trade again. Did it feel like a battle or did it feel like a breeze? Pause the video for 1 second and comment below, easy or hard. I want to see if there is a pattern here. Let's see if the easy wins outnumber the hard ones. Go ahead, leave the comment. Chapter 1. The Zero Regret Zone, Acceptance. The first undeniable trait of every successful trade is acceptance. But not just, I hope I win. It is a profound, deep acceptance of the risk before the trade is even placed. I call this the zero regret zone. Most traders enter a trade with a hidden contract in their mind. They think, I will take this trade, but I only accept the outcome if it wins. If it loses, I will be angry. I will be sad. I will feel betrayed. This is a recipe for disaster, because you are trading with conditions. You are putting emotional conditions on a random event. When the trade moves against you, which it will, you feel the contract being broken. You panic. You hesitate. You make mistakes. The trade feels heavy. Now look at the successful trade. When you took that easy winner, did you fear the loss? Probably not. In that moment, you saw the setup so clearly, and you were so comfortable with the risk that you didn't care if it lost. You thought, this is a great setup. I'll risk $100 to find out what happens. If I lose $100, fine. It's worth it. That is the zero regret zone. It is the state where you have accepted the worst-case scenario so fully that it loses its power over you. You are not trading to avoid pain. You are trading to execute edge. I want to give you a metaphor, the archer. Imagine an Olympic archer standing on the range. He has his bow. He has his arrow. The target is 70 meters away. Does the archer stare at the bull's eye and scream, I have hit it. If I miss, I am a failure? No, that tension would make his muscles shake. He would miss. The archer focuses entirely on his form, his stance, his breath, his grip, the tension in the string. He knows that if his form is perfect, the arrow will fly true. Once he releases the string, he is detached. The arrow is in the air. He cannot control it anymore. If it hits the bullseye, good. If the wind blows it off course, good. He has zero regret because he executed his process perfectly. Every successful trade you have ever taken started with the mindset of the archer. You focused on the setup, the form. You executed the entry, the release. And then you let go. You didn't try to steer the arrow with your mind. You didn't scream at the chart. You let the probability play out. How do we get back to this zone? We have to perform a pre-mortem. Before you click buy, ask yourself, if this trade hits my stop loss in 5 minutes, will I be okay? Will I be angry? Will I regret taking it? If the answer is I will be angry, then you are not in the zone. You are too big, or the setup is too weak, or you are too emotional. Do not shoot the arrow. You will miss. But if the answer is I will accept that loss as the cost of doing business, then you are ready. That trade has the potential to be a winner because you are not strangling it with your fear. Success requires lightness. Fear is heavy. Drop the fear of losing, and you will find the ease of winning. Chapter 2. The quiet confidence. Silence versus noise. The second psychological pillar of a successful trade is silence. Have you ever noticed how loud a losing trade is? I don't mean the market volume. I mean the volume inside your head. When you are in a bad trade, your mind is a cacophony of noise. Please go up. Why is it dropping? Should I sell? No, wait. Hold on. It's rigged. The broker hates me. Maybe I should check Twitter to see what others think. It is deafening. You can't think. You are paralyzed by the noise of your own hope and fear. Now think about the winning trade. It was silent. You entered. You placed your stop. You placed your target. And then, quiet. You watched the candles move. You felt calm. It's moving well. Market structure is holding. Looks good. There was no debate. There was no pleading. There was just observation. Silence is the sound of confidence. Noise is the sound of uncertainty. When you are truly confident in a trade, you don't need to talk to it. You don't need to cheerlead it. You just let it work. I want to give you another metaphor, the chef. Imagine a professional chef in a Michelin star restaurant. He receives an order for a steak. Medium rare. He knows his grill. He knows his meat. He knows his timing. He puts the steak on the grill. Does he start screaming at the steak? Cook faster. Don't burn. Please be tasty. Does he flip it every 2 seconds to check if it's done? Does he call the waiter over to ask for reassurance? No. He puts the steak on. He sets a timer. He walks away to chop vegetables. He trusts the heat. He trusts the process. He knows that staring at the steak won't cook it faster. In fact, messing with it will ruin the sear. Impatience is the sound of a lack of trust. When you micromanage a trade, when you stare at the 1-minute chart sweating over every pip, you are the amateur cook flipping the burger too many times. You are ruining the trade because you don't trust the recipe. The undeniable psychology of a winner is the ability to let the trade breathe. It is the ability to walk away. If you find yourself glued to the screen, heart racing, checking the price every 30 seconds, that is a signal. Your subconscious is telling you, we are over-leveraged. We don't know what we are doing. Real conviction is boring. If a trade is exciting, you are gambling. If a trade is boring, you are executing. Think about your best win again. Did you check it 50 times? Or did you check it a few times, see it was going well, and then go make a coffee? Almost always it's the coffee. Because you knew. Deep down, you knew you were right. And when you know you are right, you don't need to shout. To replicate this, you must practice digital silence. When you are in a trade, turn off the P&L display. Turn off the comments section. Close the other tabs. Look at the chart. Look at the structure. If the structure is valid, stay. If it breaks, leave. Eliminate the internal dialogue. The market speaks in price. You should listen in silence. Chapter 3. The predator's calm, state of alertness. This brings us to the third pillar, the specific energy of a winning trade. It is a state I call predator's calm. There is a misconception that calm means relaxed or sleepy, like you are lying on a beach. That is not the state of a trader. You are not sleeping. You are hunting. But there is a difference between the anxiety of the prey and the calm of the predator. The prey, the amateur, is twitchy. They are scanning for danger constantly. Their head is on a swivel. Every noise makes them jump. They trade out of a fear of being eaten, losing money. Is that a reversal? Is that a crash? I better sell. They are high energy, but it is nervous energy. It drains them. The predator, the pro, is still. Think of a lion. A lion can lay in the grass for hours, perfectly motionless. Is the lion sleeping? No. Its eyes are open. Its muscles are primed. It is watching. It is in a state of relaxed alertness. It is not wasting a single calorie on anxiety. It is saving all its energy for the moment of the strike. When the setup appears, the gazelle, the lion doesn't hesitate. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't worry about failure. It explodes into action. It strikes with precision. And then, whether it catches the meal or misses, it goes back to calm. Your best trades happened when you were the lion. You weren't frantic. You weren't chasing the market like a dog chasing a car. You were waiting. You saw the setup form. You watched it. You verified it. And then you struck. You entered the trade with authority. You didn't hope it would work. You executed the edge. This predator's calm is the optimal biological state for decision-making. It is a state of low cortisol, stress, and high dopamine, focus. In this state, your IQ is higher. Your reaction time is faster. You see things that the nervous traders miss. When you are frantic, high beta brainwaves, you get tunnel vision. You only see the threat. When you are calm, alpha/theta brainwaves, you have peripheral vision. You see the context. You see the bigger picture. If you are realizing right now that your anxiety is costing you money, if you recognize that you have been trading like the prey instead of the predator, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are going to break down the specific lion protocol in the next chapter, how to switch from prey to predator instantly, and you really don't want to miss that. It's a game changer. So, how do you cultivate predator's calm? You have to stop consuming junk food information. The prey is constantly checking the news, checking Twitter, checking the Discord chat. What is everyone else doing? What is the herd doing? The lion doesn't care what the herd is doing. The lion watches the price. To be the predator, you must isolate yourself. You must trust your own eyes more than the noise of the crowd. Your best trades happened when you ignored the world and trusted your own vision. You saw something. You acted on it. That sovereignty, that independence is the mark of the apex predator. The undeniable psychology of success is self-trust. It is the quiet belief that I can handle whatever happens next. I don't need to know the future. I just need to trust my ability to react to it. When you have that trust, the anxiety vanishes. The lion does not fear the jungle, and the trader does not fear the market. Chapter 4. Invalidation versus validation, the shift. Now we enter the technical psychology of the trade itself. This is the subtle shift that separates the amateur from the master. It is the difference between looking for validation and looking for invalidation. When an amateur enters a trade, what are they doing? They are looking for hope. They stare at the chart and their brain starts filtering information. Oh look, a green candle. That confirms I was right. Oh look, the news says inflation is down. That helps my trade. Oh look, someone on Twitter agrees with me. They are gathering evidence to prove that they are smart. They are building a case for why they should win. They ignore the red flags. They ignore the bearish divergence. They ignore the lower highs. This is confirmation bias. They are seeking validation because their ego needs to be right. The undeniable psychology of a winner is the exact opposite. The winner seeks invalidation. I want you to think of a scientist. A scientist has a theory. I believe gravity works like this. Does he spend his time trying to prove he is right? No. He spends his time trying to prove he is wrong. He attacks his own theory. He runs experiments to break it. If the theory survives the attack, then and only then does he trust it. The professional trader enters a trade and immediately thinks, where am I wrong? What would kill this trade? Where is the invalidation point? They are not looking for green candles to make them feel good. They are looking for the specific technical level that says, the thesis is broken. Why? Because they are not trying to protect their ego. They are trying to protect their capital. When you look for validation, you stay in bad trades too long because you are hoping they will turn around. You cling to the one piece of good news while the price crashes. When you look for invalidation, you exit bad trades instantly. Price closed below the 200 EMA. My thesis was bullish. The thesis is invalid. I am out. There is no pain in that exit. It is just logic. The experiment failed. Save the remaining capital. Next experiment. Think about your best trade again. Did you have to convince yourself to stay in? Did you have to search for reasons why it was good? No. It simply didn't get invalidated. The price moved in your favor. The structure held. The trend continued. You didn't need to look for anything because the trade was doing the work for you. The psychology of success is ruthless objectivity. It is the ability to look at your own position and say, this is a dog, and kill it. And it is the ability to look at a winner and say, this is a runner, and let it run. Stop trying to be right. Start trying to be safe. Safety comes from knowing exactly where you are wrong. Chapter 5. The mirror alignment. We have talked about acceptance, silence, calm, and invalidation. Now we must talk about the market mechanism itself. There is a spiritual truth to trading that sounds crazy until you experience it. The market reflects your conviction. If you approach the market with hesitation, fear, and doubt, the market will chop you up. It will wick your stop. It will fake you out. It will torture you. It's almost like it smells the fear. But when you approach the market with absolute clarity and conviction, the market often yields. It moves cleanly. It respects your levels. It feels like you are dancing with a partner who knows the steps. Why does this happen? Is the market actually psychic? No. But you are the filter through which you perceive the market. When you are hesitant, you place your stops in safe places, where everyone else places them. So you get hunted. You enter late, chasing, so you get caught in the pullback. You exit early, fear, so you miss the run. Your internal chaos creates external chaos. When you are aligned, you place your stops at structural invalidation points, where the big money is. You enter on the retest, patience. You hold to the target, conviction. Your internal order creates external order. I want to give you a metaphor, the tightrope walker. Imagine walking on a wire 100 feet in the air. The wind is blowing, market volatility. The wire is shaking, price action. If you are rigid, if you try to force your way across, you will fall. If you are terrified, if you look down, you will fall. The tightrope walker survives by being dynamic. He adjusts. If the wind blows left, he leans right. If the wire dips, he bends his knees. He is in a constant conversation with the environment. He is not fighting the wind. He is balancing against it. A successful trade is a tightrope walk. You enter. The market shifts. You adjust. Okay, momentum is slowing. I will take partials. Okay, volume is spiking. I will add to the position. You are not imposing a static wish on a dynamic world. You are flowing with the reality of the moment. This state of alignment is called flow. In flow, there is no trader and market. There is just the trade. You don't feel time passing. You don't feel hunger. You don't feel fear. You are completely merged with the process. This is the undeniable psychology. It is the feeling of effortless competence. It feels like driving a car on a highway you know perfectly. You don't have to think about the turns. Your hands just know what to do. How do you get to flow? You cannot force it. You cannot try to be in flow. Trying is the opposite of flow. You get there by mastering the basics. You have to know your strategy so well that you don't have to think about it. The tightrope walker doesn't think about his feet. He has walked the wire 10,000 times on the ground. Because his skill is unconscious, his mind is free to flow. If you are struggling to find this feeling, it means you are still in the conscious competence phase. You are thinking too hard. Go back to the simulator. Practice the setup 500 times. Bore yourself to tears with repetition. And then, When you step back into the live market, the flow will be waiting for you. We have dissected the anatomy of a win. We found zero regret, the archer. We found quiet confidence, the chef. We found predator's calm, the lion. We found invalidation, the scientist. We found alignment, the tightrope walker. This is the DNA of success. But here is the final secret. You cannot force a winning trade. You cannot make the market give you money. You can scream, pray, and analyze until your eyes bleed. But the market will do what it wants. The only thing you can control is the soil. Your mindset is the garden bed. The trade is the flower. If the soil is toxic, filled with fear, greed, and impatience, the flower will die. It doesn't matter how good the seed strategy is. If the soil is rich, filled with discipline, patience, and acceptance, the flower will grow. Your job is not to make money. Your job is to cultivate the psychology that makes money inevitable. You have to show up every day and water the soil. You water it by journaling. You water it by meditating. You water it by taking losses with dignity. You water it by waiting for the A-plus setups. Success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. When you become the archer, the arrow flies true. When you become the lion, the prey appears. When you become the master of your own mind, the market stops being an enemy and starts being a resource. Go back to your charts. But don't just look for patterns. Look for yourself. Look for the tension. Look for the fear. And then let it go. Find the ease. Find the silence. That is where the undeniable psychology lives. And that is where the profit is waiting.